Hey, how's it going everybody? This is just going to be a short video guide of Mushin's Tower Floor 7. I am Shadow Ears from the server Soha in North America. First off, I'm just going to be showing you the killing clips of all the bosses I faced leading up to Junghado, the Shadow Assassin that everybody seems to love and hate at the same time. I'm going to be taking a brief stop at Floor 7, or I should say Floor 5, to explain exactly how to kill this guy, because this seems to be one of the big stepping stones that a lot of people have issues getting over. So the big thing you need to know is that the 4 orbs that have the green circles around them are actually buffs, and if you properly use your cooldowns in tandem with grabbing the buffs, you'll be able to do a massive amount of damage. So you'll always see that I have my draw stance up and ready for whenever I grab one of the buffs. I'll then just animation cancel as much as I can while avoiding as much damage as possible. And usually just grabbing the buffs as soon as they're ready and not wasting my draw stance until I get it. I can usually kill him within about 3 minutes, which is well within the enrage timer. Alright, so we're finally at him. Junghado, the Shadow Assassin. So for this guy, I use a modified PvP build. It gets a lot of the crowd control and defensiveness that you need from the PvP builds. However, I've modified some skills to do more damage. Storm Cleave for one. I've also changed 5-point strike to do the resist damage. Just another way to avoid his charging and vulnerability that he does against you after the red circle. The main focus of this build is draw stance damage. While they're stunned, you'll just constantly be critting, so you'll be able to stack up the lightning focuses. So for this fight, you almost always want to start just charging straight at him to knock him up into the air. From there, you just want to start in draw stance. Use your right mouse button to stun him when he gets up. Then use your 2, your raid dash, to stun him again. And you basically want to just keep him stunned for as much of the fight as you possibly can. Either in the air, on the ground, sitting there, spinning his head, looking stupid. So the reason why we took Storm Cleave is just so that we can get back into draw stance easier. Because draw stance is the main damage of this build. So just always keep in mind that when he's on the ground, you can instantly get a big crit off if you have one of those 2 abilities up and running. Grabbing him is a great way to just wait for cooldowns to come back. It's also one way to get him knocked up in the air. So I was actually pretty lucky this run. He didn't do as much of the ice circle spawns as he normally does for most of my runs. But just as soon as you see him raise his hands like that, do as much damage as you can and then back off and try to find a safe spot. Because getting hit by that, you take a lot of damage and you'll slow down, so it'll be harder to avoid some of his other moves if he starts doing them. Alright, once he reaches 50%, this is when his red circle move will actually do the most amount of damage. So what I recommend doing is saving your Z for dodging that if possible. Later on in the fight, you'll actually watch me do the 5-point strike to avoid it. It's just another way of not dying. So right here, you'll watch me time the 5-point strike. As soon as he starts moving, press X as well. And just for good measure, hold E as you're doing it, so as soon as you're done your 5-point strike, you'll dodge behind him just for an extra little bit of invulnerability. If you could dodge his upward slash, you'll dodge most of the damage. Right there you see me hit into his counter. I was getting too greedy with my lightning strikes. You need to stop before that so that you can just avoid all damage altogether. But trying to pump out as much damage as possible, you'll need to learn where you're comfortable with stopping. Other than that, you just need to keep up with dodging his invulnerability strikes. Keep him stunned as long as possible. Use your 1 and 3 whenever you can just to keep him on the ground. If possible, use it in tandem with a lightning strike to just get extra crit damage out there. If you're able to dodge his invulnerability and dodge most of his ice circles as he spawns them, you should have no problem whatsoever with this fight. Blade Dancers are one of the few classes that have just a ton of CC, so he should never be able to do too much damage if you lock him down like you should be. Alright, well, this is how I personally was able to beat him. I wish you all the best of luck in your own endeavors, and have fun.